We are here with Bri and Grant Zabriskie, and you guys have just closed on your first home you purchased, right?
Yep.
First time buyer.
First time buyers.
It's exciting. We are in March 2023, and rates just went up this week. Again.
Yikes, again.
But these guys locked in at
5.25.
Yeah. You'd kind of been looking for a home for a couple of years. Off
Yeah.
and on, you'd call me.
Yeah.
And then something kicked in and you just felt it was the right time to buy. Do you want to say anything about that? Or
Yeah,
Well-
I think prices going down helped.
Yes,
Like,
a lot.
they're still high.
Because before you were having to compete or multiple offers and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. And
We had put an
it just-
offer in on
the-
the house before.
And then with the rates, the monthly payment just looked like, oh boy, you know. But with prices coming down, we decided to see if things had changed.
Well, and then, so we were thinking about it, and I told my husband, I'm not living in this rental that doesn't have air conditioning for another summer.
One more summer.
Because the last couple summers have been record high
Yeah, pretty.
heat.
Yeah.
So I said, we got to find something, even if it's another rental, we've just got to find another place, even though we love the area. And
But we just looking into it, we found an amazing loan option.
yeah,
and then
someone mentioned it online.
we just it was just good timing to get the rate, the 5.25 rate. We
Right,
locked
and I
that
think
in.
the loan option was the thing that made it possible. You didn't have a lot saved for a down payment.
Right.
Yes,
But-
and this loan said no down payment and no PMI, which was a real surprise to us because we'd always heard that if you don't have that full down payment
20%.
amount, you would always have to have private
Yeah.
mortgage insurance, which would make your payment go up a lot. And we were like, how are we ever, as millennials, going to save up the needed 20% for a down payment? Like, it literally feels impossible in this day and age. But when we heard about this loan, we were like, that sounds almost too good to be true. So we kind of tentatively peeked in on it, and checked it out. And it all checked out really,
Yeah,
Surprising.
through Mountain America Credit Union right now.
yeah, we call it MACU.
MACU, that's a good one, and it's a little bit different. It's figured that you're making payments for 40 years, right? So the
Yeah, it's a 40-year
payments are
loan.
lowered because it's spread out for 40.
Yep.
However,
that.
as we just signed on all your documents, we know there is a balloon payment due within 15 years,
Yeah.
right?
Spread out 40 years, but they're basically saying in 15 years you got to pay up.
Right, which you're hoping once interest rates settle down a little bit, you just
Right, to
refinance into a
refi.
regular 30-year conventional loan or
Yeah, I
something.
mean 15 years feels like a very generous
Doable.
window in order to
Refi.
refinance and get into a different loan. But
So it was no money down, but there were higher closing costs. So we figured in the beginning it'd be about $13,000, and we were pondering how we're going to come up with that. And we thought, in today's market, hopefully we can get the seller to chip in some of that.
We
And
thought we'd do half and half.
yeah, so that was key, that the market had changed and there were a lot of houses that we were already looking at that had been on the market for months. Yeah.
and even though it's a changed market, you still had to offer on 3 homes to get this one. The first one was already under. We tried back up, but that went through, right? The second one, they did not, even though it needed updates, they would not come down to where we needed to be.
Needed to be, yeah.
And then this third one, actually, we had a competing offer on this one,
Yeah.
and but you were able to get it. So we won a multiple offer thing. This is 2.
Yeah.
Only 2, but yeah.
Yeah, it was
Right,
just-
but at that point, the seller had agreed to pay $6,500 of your closings.
Yeah, that's
so
about,
Which was pretty
about
amazing.
half of it. Yeah.
you guys were really wise. So during a due diligence period, you have the opportunity to check anything out on the home.
Yeah.
You chose to have a normal inspection done, and you chose to have the sewer scoped to see if there's any problems with the sewer line, because we did notice some sinkage in the front yard that kind of triggered a little concern. The inspector caught that and said, after the inspection was done, he gave you some tips on what to do.
Yeah.
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 So first of all, though, we learned with the inspection, we learned the furnace needed some help, and the inspector learned that the hot water, a bathtub was important to you, Bri, right? And that hot water heater was not filling the bathtub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily, then the seller agreed to install a new water heater, which was a couple of $1,000s.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
fixed the furnace issues, the things that were really important to you.
Yeah, he was a real diligent seller. It was a real blessing to find
Yeah.
someone who
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, it was a
Doing that
blessing,
work.
because not every seller's that conscientious, but he was really great with us.
Yeah, he was.
Then you had the sewer scoped, and we learned there was a little bit of problems there, right? So
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah,
check it.
potential
Yeah.
problems. It just seemed like it caught where it connects with the city's sewer.
Well, and it was interesting that when I was like, well, there isn't direct evidence of it. There's some evidence that there's a problem. And to get it scoped was going to be like $100 or more. And I was like, I don't know, is it worth it? But Bri was like, it is worth it. You know, I'm trying to skimp and save everything. And she's like, we're doing this. Like she was totally set.
Because they can be thousands and thousands to replace a sewer line.
Yeah, and
the last thing you need is a sewer disaster.
Well, you kind of worry that
really
you'll find
horrific.
something that will keep you from being able to buy this house that you're really interested in. You know what I mean?
So maybe it's better not to know.
Yeah,
right?
you know, you're kind of like, well,
That was your thought. Okay.
I'd rather know.
You know, well,
I want to know what I'm up against.
It's just these mind games we play with ourselves, like trying to like decide what to prioritize and stuff. But yeah, you said let's do that, and I was like, okay, we'll pay the $100. Well, we do the scoping, find out there could be this problem. We bring it up with the seller, and the recommendation was, you know, from the plumbers were like, you should replace the whole thing,
Which was going
the
to be
sellers-
very expensive.
$11,000 something dollars,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So the seller just decided to give us more credits on our
He
closing
gave you
costs.
half. He said, I'll
Yeah,
offer to give you.
55.
Half of that in
Yeah,
closing costs. So
then it
Or
lowered
in
our
our
closing
credit.
costs
so yeah, we just closed.
insanely.
We just closed, and our closing costs were $311.
So you spent probably close to $1,000 maybe for inspections.
Yeah,
Mhm,
maybe,
yeah.
yes.
From that, you have the peace of mind you're buying a good home, and you got a new water heater, and
Yes,
most
big
of your
one.
closing
And
costs
most of our
paid.
closing costs were covered. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
If we buy again in the future, we'll definitely do the same with our due diligence period. Just it's worth the money to just really make sure that you've covered all your bases, and then you never know what could happen from that to help you make it even easier to get into the home and have it be a good home for
Well,
you.
and to me, this was
Absolutely.
really just a hopeful process. Like seeing how well it worked out was like, I didn't think it could happen for my generation. Like I literally didn't think that anybody
Really?
in my
Oh.
generation would be able to get into a home without unreasonable amounts of money or family help or something like that. And so this just made me feel like I can tell other people, give them hope, like it can happen. Like you can get into a home and it's gonna cost you in the end maybe $2,000-$3,000. If you're, you know, there's a lot of things that had to work out for us for that, but still, like it was not this huge 80,000 or more
That you had to save for a long
that
time.
we had to save for
Yeah.
a long time to get into
Yeah.
a decent house.
Well, I think what's important too to point out is that we're like Kathy mentioned, we've been actually looking at houses and trying to go through this process for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the end of a 2-year process.
It was. And you know, I thought it was interesting as part of your due diligence, you also decided to go meet the neighbors.
Oh yeah.
And that was kind of a surprise also that you connected with many of the neighbors that, you know, you homeschool and have similar age children and things like that.
Yes,
So
it was so fun. We homeschool. We rarely find other homeschoolers close by. And these ones had kids exactly our age and they homeschool together and they're like, come join us. And we were like, wow, that is so unique and special that our kids will have other kids that have
on their street.
that
yeah.
same
it is. Yeah.
lifestyle. Pretty awesome.
Just win all the way. Well, great. Thank you for taking the time to share your experience.
Of course.
And it's been a
Thank you.
delight working with both of you.
It's been a delight working with you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Kathy's amazing.
Oh, thank you. And Saturday is move-in day. So
Yes,
here we
it
go.
is. Yeah.
Let's
right.
do this.